Have you ever noticed that we have so many ways to say I messed up, and at times we can almost make it sound poetic? Here are the top 10 phrases and expressions that are associated with our mistakes. Number 10. Sadly, I'm sure we've all done this. We have dropped the ball right when everyone is watching. Very, very embarrassing. In fact, there are numerous sports where dropping the ball can be detrimental to the game. Baseball, cricket, and in sports like American football or rugby, dropping the ball means losing possession and potentially the game. In other words, it is a clear and visible mistake. Now, dropping the ball can apply to many different fields, such as dropping the ball on that deadline, and then worst of all, having to go and explain to your colleagues or even your boss what you have done. Number 9. Now, nothing humbles you faster than a joke that lands in utter complete silence. It's at times like this that we fall flat on our face. Now, the phrase is rooted in physical comedy, literally falling forward onto your face as a staple of slapstick performances dating back to the theatre and early film days. It later became a metaphor for public failure or embarrassment by the 19th century. And we continue to fall flat on our face, particularly when we fail spectacularly, particularly in front of a wider audience. Just like a presentation that completely and utterly bombs. Number 8. Now, you aim for brilliance, but you somehow landed in what was that territory. Just like an arrow that misses the bullseye by a mile, you have indeed missed the mark. Now, the phrase, not surprisingly, comes from archery and shooting, where the mark is the intended target. Missing it meant poor aim, and by the 16th century, it became a broader metaphor for failing to achieve a goal. Nowadays, we will miss the mark if we get something wrong or we convey something that ends up in utter misunderstanding. Just like a joke or idea that doesn't quite land. Number 7. It wasn't a total disaster, just a tiny oops that somehow everyone seemed to notice. We could say that it was a slip up. Now, slip has long meant losing a footing, both physically and morally. And by the 18th century, slip up came to mean making a small error or mistake, particularly one that was caused by a measure of carelessness. Slip-ups continue down to our day and is used to describe minor errors, just like sending an email to the wrong person or indeed forgetting someone's name. Number 6. Now, it's at times like this when your genius plan turns around and smacks you right in the face. We could say that it is a backfire. Now, backfiring has originated from firearms, where a gun would backfire by exploding or firing backwards toward the user. Rather tragic in some circumstances. And by the 19th century, it evolved into a metaphor for plans that had the opposite of the intended effect. Sadly, plans do continue to backfire down to this day, just like trying to fix a mistake that does nothing but double the problem. It's like a politician trying to smooth things over by appealing to the media. Number 5. Now, this is when you have ingredients such as poor planning, zero sleep, and blind confidence. What could go wrong? Well, it could be a recipe for disaster. As the expression suggests, the phrase plays on cooking terminology where a recipe is a set of instructions. And by the 20th century, it became a metaphor for combining factors that inevitably lead to failure. Nowadays, we'll use the term recipe for disaster to describe situations that are doomed from the start, just like leaving that important task or project right to the very last minute. Number 4. Now, you were very, very close, and then all of a sudden, it's all gone. That's right, we could describe ourselves as blowing it. Now, the phrase is likely derived from the idea of blowing a chance or opportunity away, and it's possibly linked to the gambling scene back in the early 20th century, where it suggests that you have wasted something valuable through poor decisions. In today's world, we could say that we have blown it, like putting ourselves in situations where we have totally messed up that all-important interview or big life moment. Number 3. It's in scenarios like this where we are wrong, or confidently wrong, which can be the most dangerous kind of wrong. We could be barking up the wrong tree. Now, this phrase dates back to the 19th century from hunting dogs in the US, where they would sometimes bark at the base of a tree where they thought their prey or target had climbed, even when it hadn't. And today, people still do bark up the wrong tree, particularly if they are obviously pursuing a very, very wrong idea, or indeed pointing the finger and blaming the wrong person. Number 2. Now, we will often say this after making a very avoidable mistake. We'll say that you live and learn. The proverb dates back centuries and reflects the idea that life itself is a continuous learning process. It aligns with philosophical traditions that view experience as a primary teacher. People continue to live and learn, particularly after discovering something new, often unexpectedly, like realizing that that go-to shortcut doesn't actually save time. And finally, number 1. This phrase describes that something that could feel rather catastrophic right now, but give it a week and it'll just be a story, a distant memory. Or in other words, we could say that it is not the end of the world. Now, this phrase draws from apocalyptic imagery, pointing to a literal end of the world. However, by the 20th century, it was used reassuringly to put everyday failures into perspective. Today, we'll say that things are not the end of the world to remind people that mistakes aren't final. Just like failing a test or messing up at work, life goes on. So there you have it. If you drop the ball, miss the mark, just remember remember, it's not the end of the world. Which one's your favourite? Please comment and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you for more bite-sized deep dives.